A big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video, but more on that later.
All right, so it's already almost October. I'm about 2 months behind where I thought I would be at this point, and I've decided that starting today, I'm just gonna give every single thing I've got to try and finish this electrical system, because we really need more electricity so we can use the mini split in the bedroom now that the days are getting colder. And we've been using the system I built under the wall tent all summer, which actually worked totally fine, but it's not sized for like the amount of electricity we need going forward. And it definitely won't be able to cope with winter and upstate cloudy days where it's like sometimes the sun doesn't shine for like a week. So yeah, here we go, 100% to the electrical build. When everything is done and it's all working well, I'll make a completely different video explaining things step by step. But this is just one big push to see if I can get electricity into all 3 containers in our off-grid shipping container house. All right, so the next step in the process is to learn a new skill, which is bending conduit. I have this, I think this is 1/2 inch EMT it's called, and I need to do a cable run from the inverter up all the way through here and into this breaker box. So that'll be the first step in the process. All right, so yesterday was a little bit frustrating. I was only able to run 1 length of conduit from the inverter to the breaker box because it turns out bending metal conduit, even though it's actually pretty easy, is a bit of an art to really figure out how to do like multiple bends in a single piece of pipe. Like 2 really simple bends, totally fine. But once you start getting like sculptural with it and you do like 3 different bends in like 3-dimensional space and the spacing has to be perfect, it's just really like time consuming to get it right. And I just don't want to dedicate that amount of time right now. So I watched a bunch of tutorials last night on YouTube. And one guy, he's like an electrician, he said that his dad, who's also an electrician, told him, just don't be a hero. And that's going to be my motto for today. Rather than trying to get like individual long pieces that are really cool, I'm just going to cut them and connect them. And this way you can trim the ends on either side of bends, and it's just going to go so much faster. So it's a little wasteful because there's more scrap material at the end, but I think it will actually, for me at least, waste less pipe because I made so many mistakes yesterday that I ended up wasting quite a bit. I'll figure out something to do with that. It's not like it goes bad or anything, like some sort of fun sculpture or something with the scrap. But today the goal is to just move a little bit quicker, get more done, and less focus on it looking really good. I just need it to work and to be done.
To slow down. Fireplace, do you know how? Piles of paper, my desk is out. Who will care for the world out? Rest with me, close to curtains. Brew some herbal tea. Reach out for me. Take my hand and lead even when I disagree. Oh, how I love when it rains outside. And it's okay to slow the ride. I forget about, but who cares for the world now? Rest with me, close the curtains, brew some herbal tea.
All right, got the outdoor box installed and got some sealant on there. So I think that means all of the conduit is officially done. We got the pipe over here, which goes from the inverter to the breaker box. That's over here. The really cool thing about doing this in an off-grid setting is that there's no danger of electricity in any random lines because there's literally no power connected in any way. It's not like remodeling an old house where there could just be like old live wires that you can't figure out where to disconnect them. There's no electricity anywhere in this entire system right now. This is the outlet here that will power the pump under the sink. So that will just plug in here, and then we'll have a switch because when you run out of water, the pump keeps running, it won't stop. So you need a switch to be able to manually turn off the pump when it runs out of water down there. This is the outlet over here, which is going to power the fridge and the blender I'm gonna mount on this wall. And then they come up through here. We have one more outlet here, which eventually will power like toothbrush chargers, potentially a light, and potentially a fan for the composting toilet. And then they go up through here back to the office. The bedroom is actually the simplest of all of them because it's just one wall outlet over here. And the beauty of getting to do all of this work myself is this is a height Max isn't going to be able to reach for quite a long time. All of these wires I can tie up against the wall and run up over here. So he has no access from bed to any outlets or stuff like that, which gets really annoying. Up in the top, I don't know if you can see that. Up there, I still need to put some oak over that because I basically want any wiring to just be like fully removed from being able to touch it. Even though it's in the metal pipe, sometimes there's like little sharp screws or different things like that in the metal conduit. So just covering that entire system with wood will make it even safer. So yeah, the next step in the process is to run wires through all of the pipes. I might need to add in a couple more in the future, but I have a little bit of the EMT conduit left over. So it's really not that hard with this system to add more in the future, which is kind of the beauty of it. And I really love how it turned out aesthetically. I think this was probably a little bit too challenging of a first project just because the angles they had to go were a little too tight. I feel like in a house this would have actually been way easier just because you have more space to work with. And had I known how challenging the 3D bending would be, I would have mounted stuff in slightly different places. But I feel like the beauty of these shipping containers is it's basically just a giant design studio for me to figure out what kind of building materials I like, what works well in this climate. And exposed wiring, I kind of just love it because you know exactly what's going on. I also like the look of it. And I don't know, it just makes me nervous having unprotected wires behind walls, because when you do that, you assume that everyone working on the house will know standards of where things are supposed to be. All right, it is a new day on the electrical project, and hopefully things go a little smoother today. I got a little bit more gear to try and help things along. So we got this pulling line, which I hope is going to make getting the wire through the 1/2-inch EMT a little easier. The 1/2-inch pipe was really nice to work with because it's way easier to bend, but it's kind of a pain to get wires through. I bought stranded wire at first, and I thought that was going to be easy to get onto the actual outlets, but I feel like you have to be really talented to make that work. So I switched to solid, and I think the solid will be a little bit more of a pain to get through the conduit, but it will be way quicker to get onto the outlets. I also thought electrical would be a one-person job, but with all of the bends I put into the EMT and going through the boxes, the wire snags on edges. So I have to run back and forth just to feed an inch at a time. It's kind of a pain. So I decided to call in the reinforcements. Our friend Noah is on his way, and I think the two of us should be able to get this done today, hopefully. Woo! So this little gadget is amazing. Highly recommend. Basically just tells you if you did it right. Correct. Can you see that? Correct. Hey, correct. Correct. All right, last one. Moment of truth. Yes, correct. All right, so this is a big moment in our shipping container build. This here was the extension cord which runs all the way down the hill to the wall tent, and it's been powering our fridge all summer long. But now this outlet is ready to go. It looks like it works, and we can switch fridge power from wall tent to the shipping container power bank. Ba-da-dum, bum 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 bum, ba-da-dum, bum ba-da-dum, bum bum. There we go. All right, got that plugged in. Let's see if the fridge still works. Fridge still works. Wow, that is such a good feeling. Holy moly. Get this guy out of here. All right, so the next monumental improvement is going to be taking the portable battery out from under the sink and connecting the wire for the sink pump directly into this outlet. Bum ba-da-dum, dum bum 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 ba-da-dum. So this would be pump on. And this should be pump off. There we go. So I guess the light is on when it's off, which makes sense. So if you flip this switch, it turns the sink on. And then you just turn it off right here. And now the sink is just on. And we can clean up that wiring over there. Oh, man. That's a game changer. All right, little bears.
We're in?
Come for your surprise. Ready?
Yeah.
Max, here's a remote.
Wait, what?
Push this button. You know how to push buttons. We push the center button, turn it on.
This one right here. This is an on button.
Yeah, it's an on button.
Right here. This one. Boop. Lou! Oh my gosh! Wait, that's amazing! Max, there's lights!
There's light
And there's
in the kitchen.
brightness!
And there's a dimmer.
Wow! Wait, this is gonna be so helpful when it gets dark at 5 o'clock. It's beautiful, Lou.
Pretty cool, huh?
I really like it. It's so elegant. That's what, like an LED strip?
Uh-huh. It's on the back too, so it goes into the bathroom.
Oh. Oh my gosh, it's fancy.
Cool, right?
Yeah.
And I made it a height so you couldn't reach it.
I love it so much. Thank you. Hi, Freya. Whoa.
A big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video. Squarespace makes it quick and easy to begin building your own website so you can stay focused on the creative part of content creation. Pick a template, add some images of your own, and you're all set to start running your own website, blog, or online store. Once you're ready, they've even got advanced analytics to help you grow and optimize every detail of your site. To get started, head to squarespace.com/wildweroam for a free trial and 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.